Hello, I'm curious about how you are with noticing what's going on in you. I'd really love to know. But anyway, since we're not actually in a conversation, I'll let you know about what goes on in me. And then maybe you can comment below and we can have a conversation about it. Some days I notice an awful lot about what's going on in me during the day. Things change so quickly. So I might notice that I'm being a bit judgmental in my thinking. Then I might notice that I don't want to be judgmental. So I judge being judgmental, double judgment. But then I notice that with the noticing, it just fades away. And I notice body sensations. I might notice a wee pain here and resist thinking about what that means, particularly what it might mean into the future, which is an old pattern of mine, to have a pain or a stiffness and then to have a worry about what it might mean for the future. And sometimes I still do that. But other times I just notice. And I notice the thought begin to start, and then it doesn't keep going. I might notice something else. I might notice something that I hear, like the birds singing. There's lots of native birds around here. I might notice that. Not to even think about the birds, but just to notice, to be with the sound. I might notice that it's starting to rain. There's some drizzle happening. I think, I just might go outside on the deck and just watch it for a while. And I might do that, or I might not. Sometimes things seem to happen without me actually deciding to. So I might not have had the thought about going out to the deck, but I just might do it anyway. And what else might I notice? Some days it feels really full of noticing. And I don't know why that is, and that's a thought as well. But some days feel quite full of noticing. It feels like there's so much change in the day. And other days, it's not like that. And I wonder, or I'm curious about whether the days where I don't notice so much, is that because I'm just not noticing? Or is that because I'm doing a lot of doing? I might be busy doing things. So therefore I'm focused on the doing and not noticing. But I don't know, actually. I mean, that just gets into a tangle the more I think about it. What happens for you? Anyway, what else? Well, I might notice that I've been thinking about something that happened the other day. And then I just let it happen. And it just goes away. And then I might notice, I don't know, something else. Another sensation. Or another something to do with my senses. So, it could be taste or touch or auditory or visual. And I just might notice. And you might say, well, what's the point of noticing? The point of noticing is that it allows me and you to be more aware of what's going on in each moment. And the magical thing about noticing without thinking is that it then just passes, which can be pretty good in terms of emotions, because, there's a lot of emotions that we don't like to feel. And so we can notice an emotion. We could even be feeling it in our body. And because we notice it, but don't start thinking about it, it just dissolves quite quickly. It really is such a mystery, this life. We can notice all sorts of things, which makes me in awe of life and in awe of me as a human being. And the really, really magical thing is that, like I said earlier, sometimes I do things without actually thinking about it beforehand. But it's like I have a sense of, well, that's what I'll do. But when I get into thinking, I'm more likely to try and work out whether I need to do that, or whether it's right to do that, or whether I should do that. So these days, I think my thinking is lighter. It still happens. I'm not going to stop thinking. It's just that the thinking is lighter somehow. And I don't get attached to the thoughts. Not 100% of the time, but more and more. Thinking happens. Thinking is quite fun sometimes. I can play with my thinking and look at different perspectives on a situation. Because often we get into our one point of view, which is set up through a filter from what we experienced when we were young. With our immature brain when we were young, we set up all sorts of strategies just to survive. And those patterns, they got stuck in our subconscious and they stay there. And as I am more expansive in the way I look at these patterns and habits that show up that I notice, I can just turn things around or look at the situation from the perspective of somebody else or just a different way of looking at it. And it can be really enlightening just to notice that there's a different way of looking at that situation, that I don't have to stick with my old patterns. Anyway, I feel like this conversation has wandered around quite a lot, but I'd love to know what you think. So if you do feel like you could add a comment, that'd be great, and I'd reply, because I do really like these sort of conversations. So I wonder, what do you notice in your life? What do you notice about your thinking and your feeling and your being? Love to hear.